Hey, just a short video, so I think I'm going to publish this, like I was saying, in the French version on both my channels, because I think it can relate to jewelry, and at the same time it could relate to more kind of a wider, I guess, panel of options. But I wanted to talk about whether or not it is really vital to study for, I was gonna say drawing, but is it really necessary to take lessons to become good at something and study it by enrolling in a uni or something like this? So once again, only my point of view, my own perspective that stems from my own life and what I've been through. So to give you a bit of background, I graduated, then I knew I wanted to do something that had to do with creativity and perhaps drawing. Initially I wanted to become a fashion designer, but after doing like for high school some fashion shows with other people, I realized that this thing was gonna kill me. I was gonna end up with a freaking heart attack age 40 because of the stress, and I didn't like sewing, so that was just not going to be a good match. But after that I knew that I wanted to do something that had to do with art, so I enrolled in what we call in French a prépa, which is like a preliminary year where you learn about the basics of drawing, and I was in a private school, so yeah. Freeze. No, because I was thinking that it's not the same in the States, I guess, but in France, the kind of public schools, when you study art, most of them, they are like kind of, you need to pass some kind of, not really test, but there's an entry test that you have to pass where you have a couple of days where you have to go, and I find it really revolting that, you know, the public shit that's supposed to be free, you have actually fucking tests. And so if you're not really good, like if you don't really have skills in drawing, you're kind of not gonna be like, in a way, privileged, but on the opposite, and you're there to learn, so obviously you don't have the skills, so I find it a bit ridiculous to put like tests everywhere. Anyway, and so I was in a private thing, and I'm gonna break it down to you like right now. The only really valuable thing when it comes to art schools, or I guess other schools depending on the subject, but when you pay for private things, you only pay for the contacts that you're gonna get, and perhaps if you're lucky enough, good teachers, which is not always the case, by the way. So it's just contacts and being able afterwards, if you're really in it, to be able to be put in certain kind of apprenticeship somewhere, or put in a kind of a business, and then being able to keep going in that business after you've finished your course, or being able to meet people that already are in the kind of in this area, in this domain, through their parents, and so you can kind of help each other and kind of be able to make some money because they have contacts. But you pretty much pay for the contacts, and like I say, if you're lucky, if you have good teachers, for some decent skills. But when it comes to drawing, I basically always liked it, but thought I was pretty mediocre, which is the case. I think there's this big kind of urban myth, which is a lie that people buy into, is this idea that some people are naturally born gifted and others aren't. I guess that there are some exceptions when you see like those little kids, they're 5 years old, they play the piano already. I mean, like, this is kind of an exception. I kind of, a divine kind of, they have a divine purpose, so to speak. But for the rest of us, we kind of have to develop and kind of learn to know ourselves and develop the skills that we want to develop. And it's a choice, once again, it's all a question of choice. And so I bought into this idea that because I was mediocre at it, and it wasn't coming like straight away like that, it wasn't just like, you know, intuitive and pretty much in me, I thought that it wasn't worth kind of pursuing, because I wasn't really good at drawing, and basically I was lazy and I just wanted things to come. I wanted it to have it naturally, you know, and if I didn't have it, what was the point in trying to go that way? Which was, I find, a stupid way to think about it, but yeah. And so this idea of being naturally gifted kind of blocks a lot of people, because quite frankly, it's only through practice that you get better and skilled at what you want to do, you know, at what you want to do. And so I went to my art school to, you know, get the right level, and I was faced towards something that I think most of us have been through in school, whether it's high school, middle school, or after, you know. We had a good class. Like the people I was with were cool people, but I didn't. Most of the teachers were okay, but some were really kind of crap. And I think it's really hard, especially when you've been really put in situations where you were told, especially in school, you know, like with crappy teachers that, hey, you suck, you'll never go anywhere in life, and when you're young, you kind of buy this bullshit, you know, or if you have parents that always kind of told you that you wouldn't amount to nothing, it's really hard to get out of this kind of this programming that they've loaded in your brain. But quite frankly, the only valuable advice I could give you from my personal experience is to say just fuck you, you know, like fuck them, do your thing and just keep going. And I know it's hard because everybody's different. Some people will use this as a fuel to be like, fuck you, I'm gonna make it, you know. And I have this part of me because my dad is a bit like that, so I was like, fuck y'all, I'm gonna do what I want even if you say I can't do it. But when I was younger, especially when I was going through school, I was really kind of the art school, I was really kind of worried about my grades because I was a pretty mediocre student in the art school because I didn't have any really art skills to start with, so I had to learn everything from zero basically. And it pissed me off that I had to work twice as much as other people that were kind of good at it, naturally good at it, and gifted. I think they were just more passionate than me, to be quite frank. And so I was working my ass off for really mediocre grades, and I wasn't seeing any improvements. And I quit the art school after I got my prépa in my first year, and then I did a second year, and then I was like, I'm through. I don't want to do this. And the only kind of thing I wanted to give you, if you're in this situation, you don't know if you should enroll in a school or not. For art, to be quite frank, all you need to do if you want to progress is draw absolutely everything you see and go and do nudes classes. Draw naked people, draw everything you see around you, and take some basic lessons in perspective. You can get shit on YouTube now. That's all you need. You don't need an art school, quite frankly. And for me, as far as I'm concerned, I left before they started to learn to use the graphic tab, so I had to learn by myself. And that's when I clicked, and I think that's why I wanted to do this video, because it's by practicing the graphic tab and being consistent that I saw drastic improvement in how I was able to use it. And I guess I could apply this to jewelry making. I feel that jewelry making is a bit more complex than drawing, to be honest. So perhaps taking basic lessons for jewelry making could be a good idea, but quite frankly, you could do everything on your own if you really want to do it. If there are things that you really want to do it, but people told you, no, you can't do it, no, you can't do it, and you started to believe it, you know, like, put to the trash all this nonsense bullshit. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do something, and just do it. It's not about proving them wrong. It's not about them. It's about you, what you want to do, you know, and why wouldn't you do it? So I just wanted to give this little insight because it pisses me off that, you know, because I also wanted to draw a parallel. When we're young, there are a lot of people that I've talked to that had a terrible experience about school in general because they had bad grades and they were labeled as stupid. And the thing is, a great majority of those people are actually not stupid. They're actually too smart, so they were bored in their class. Like they were high potential intelligent people. That there are different sorts of intelligence, and most of the time, from what I've seen, people that said they were bad in school or even quit without even graduating and hated it and thought that they were really bad and stupid and had no intelligence. Most of them were actually gifted children, like they were high potential, high intelligence people that just were not in the right setup to be able to express their intelligence because they had a very peculiar way of expressing it that didn't fit into the system and in the box. So yeah, if you thought you were really always, like, your whole life you were dumb because you didn't have an education, you know, you kind of have to stop, like, get rid of this, drop this idea, because honestly it's not true at all. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that because I feel that it's hard for some people. It's a really deep wound for a lot of people, and then it makes them feel inferior because they feel, I don't have the education. I was really bad at school. My teacher told me that I was bad. My mother told me I was stupid. You know, those are programmings. Get rid of them, because they are not even yours. And just perseverance and being passionate about what you do is what will help you kind of grow the skills that you have or that you want to kind of use. Oh, bon, voilà, ça va. I was looking at the time. I think I've said enough. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that because, yeah, I don't know why. I was just inspired to do this. I guess because there's so many people that hinder their capacity, their gifts, and that have a really low self-esteem. That is really not. It's. You know, it's a shame because then they don't use the potential because they feel that they don't have what it takes, but actually they do. So if you kind of recognize yourself in what I say, please do what you want to do it, you know, and override this idea that you were told that you were not good enough, and show and share with the world your gifts. It's really important. So voila, I think I've said everything I wanted to, and I'll see you around for another video. Bye!